What if the next Apple Watch looks almost identical to the one on your wrist right now, but feels completely different the second you tap the screen? That might sound like a stretch, but it could be the exact strategy behind the upcoming Apple Watch Series 12. Apple is known for keeping designs familiar for years, but the real transformation this time around could be happening entirely under the hood. From a significantly faster processor to smarter artificial intelligence, improved health tracking, better battery endurance, and fresh software features, the Series 12 might quietly become one of the most important smartwatch updates in years. So what is Apple actually preparing? When will it drop? How much will it cost? And most importantly, will it actually be worth your hard-earned money? Let's start with the heart of the device, performance. The current reports suggest that Apple is equipping the Series 12 with a brand new S12 chip. Now on paper, a processor update doesn't always spark excitement like a brand new curved glass casing or a thinner body, but on a wearable device, speed changes everything. Smartwatches live and die by instant responsiveness. A faster, more power-efficient chip means your apps will pop open instantly, screen animations will feel buttery smooth, and workout tracking will respond without a single second of lag. This performance bump comes at a crucial moment. Apple is heavily shifting its focus towards software and artificial intelligence across its entire ecosystem. With upcoming software updates, Apple is bringing a far more capable Siri experience to your wrist alongside features built into its broader Apple Intelligence framework. That makes the processor upgrade much more significant. A beefier chip gives the watch the extra headroom it needs for complex on-device processing, smarter voice interactions, and future AI features that haven't even been announced yet. Think about how often you interact with your Apple Watch without reaching into your pocket for your phone. You ask Siri a quick question, check a text, glance at a workout, or set a quick timer. If every single one of those micro-interactions becomes faster and more conversational, the watch instantly feels like a giant leap forward in daily use. This is where the Series 12 could end up feeling far more advanced than its physical shell lets on. Apple is also expected to refine the software layout, giving users fresh ways to see and interact with their daily information. When you change the interface, a device feels brand new, even if the hardware hasn't changed an inch. Speaking of the exterior, current reports indicate that Apple will stick to the well-established 42mm and 46mm case sizes. That makes complete practical sense. The current Apple Watch design is comfortable, recognizable, and compatible with years of watch bands. Instead of changing the dimensions just for the sake of marketing hype, Apple will likely focus on new materials, fresh finishes, and minor structural refinements. For anyone hoping for a radical visual redesign, that might sound like a minor letdown, but improving what happens inside the casing is far more practical than changing the shape just to make it look different. Health tracking will also form a massive pillar of the Series 12 story. Apple has already pushed boundaries with features like hypertension detection alerts on recent models, but it is vital to remember how this technology actually works. The watch does not act as a mini blood pressure cuff. Instead, it uses optical sensors to detect underlying vascular patterns that indicate potential high blood pressure, prompting you to seek a formal measurement. The Series 12 is expected to push these cardiovascular sensors even further, offering more accurate pattern tracking and deeper health insights. However, health features are always bound by strict medical regulations and government approvals. Features can be delayed or adjusted depending on legal sign-offs. So while better health tracking is an exciting prospect, it shouldn't be taken as an absolute guarantee until Apple states it on stage. Then there is battery life, which is easily one of the most requested upgrades from longtime users. Smartwatch owners hate worrying about charging their devices in the middle of the day, especially if they rely on them for overnight sleep tracking and morning workouts. Because physical space inside a sleek watch chassis is extremely tight, putting in a massive battery isn't always possible. That is where a more efficient processor saves the day. A chip that uses less energy to perform the same tasks directly translates to better battery endurance. Even gaining a few extra hours of real-world use makes a massive difference, allowing you to track long runs, log your sleep, and go about your daily routine without constant range anxiety. On top of hardware, Apple often uses clever software additions to make standard watches feel closer to premium models. Rumors suggest the Series 12 could gain new customization options, including dense watch faces heavily inspired by the layout of the Apple Watch Ultra. This would allow standard series users to view multiple complications and data streams at a glance, delivering high-density functionality without forcing buyers to step up to the larger and far more expensive Ultra hardware. Now let's address the big question on everyone's mind: how much will it cost? The Series 11 held a starting price point of $399, and early expectations suggest Apple will keep the Series 12 in a similar ballpark ballpark, likely between $399 and $429. Apple has not officially confirmed final retail pricing, but keeping the entry barrier accessible makes total sense. If Apple manages to deliver a faster chip, smarter AI capabilities, better power efficiency, and upgraded health monitoring at that standard price point, the Series 12 becomes an extremely compelling package. As for the official launch window, current reporting points toward a release in September 2026, landing alongside Apple's annual iPhone unveilings. Until Apple sends out the press invitations, that September timing is an educated expectation rather than a locked-in date, but it fits Apple's historical release rhythm perfectly. So here is my honest opinion on this product. Is the Apple Watch Series 12 actually worth waiting for? If you're currently wearing an older device, like a Series 6, 7, or even 8, the answer is an absolute yes. On older models, battery health is likely degrading, processing power is showing its age, and you are missing out on modern display enhancements and advanced health metrics. Upgrading from an older watch to the Series 12 will feel like stepping into a completely different era of wearable tech. However, if you bought a recent model like the Series 10 or Series 11, the upgrade will be much harder to justify. The Series 12 is not about reinventing the wheel, it is about perfecting the internal engine. In my view, this quiet, iteration-focused approach is actually brilliant on Apple's part. Instead of releasing flashy outer redesigns every single year, building a watch that gets noticeably faster, smarter, and more reliable over time creates a far better long-term product for real users. What do you think about Apple's strategy here? Would you pick up the Series 12 for around $399, or would you rather spend the extra money to go for the rugged Apple Watch Ultra? Do you prefer internal performance upgrades, or do you think Apple strictly needs to deliver a brand new physical look? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you liked the video, subscribe, share the video, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another update.